Awesome. Happy Wednesday. I am very, very excited. Guys, this is the last one of the year. Can you guys believe it?
It's been a
Not the
great
last
year.
Wednesday, but the last Winners Wednesday for our group here, right? Because we do this session once a month. Um,
Yep.
so I'm excited. We've got Christmas around the corner, a lot of holidays going on. So a lot going
Yep.
on. With that said, I think as much as everyone is busy with, the holiday season, they're also extremely busy and, with the market shift that we've talked about over the last couple of months, but more importantly, really planning for next year. I hope as a real estate agent, you've already been thinking about 2023, probably something we should have been thinking about in the last 3 months or so. So with that said,
Absolutely.
JB and Ruben are here, top producers, top influencers, top leaders in the industry. And I'm excited for you guys to share really what's going to work and what we're foreseeing in 2023, because we all know that things are changing, right? So good morning.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Nikki. Good morning. Good morning, Micah.
Yeah. Hey, Nikki. Yes, please give us
Morning.
a shout out. If you have any questions or want us to elaborate on anything further, please let me know. So, with that said, one thing that I really want to hone in before we get started, and I want your feedback on this from both of you, is everybody's doing their business planning. We actually have a business planning clinic this afternoon. If you want to attend, let me know. But everyone's going through their business plan, and this is something that we do every single year. Personally, I think you should revisit it more than once a year. But with that said, what do you guys see that are the necessary changes that you need to make in order from 2022 to 2023? Because we all know if you don't make any changes, nothing's going to change, right? So,
Right.
what are some of the changes you guys are preparing for next year?
So we had our team retreat yesterday. So we spent all day doing this yesterday, and what we talked about the majority of our meeting was just getting back to the basics.
Mm-hmm.
Got to be on the phone. You've got to get in front of people. I think as real estate agents, we've had it so good. The floodgates have been open with all of this amazing business with what happened in the market in, second quarter of 2020. And, it's just been great. So we are getting back to the business. We're dropping a lot of or back to the basics. We're dropping a lot of our, lead gen systems, and we're focusing on 2 or 3. And we're going to go deep into those. And it's really just about connecting with people and hitting the phones and being of value to people.
I love that. Back to the basics, because I think a lot of times we try to overcomplicate it, but at the end of the day, the foundational things are what works, right? And so we try to
Mhm.
find the shortcut, if you will. Ruben, what
Yeah.
about you?
Yeah. So I would say don't get sick is a huge one. It's a waste of time, right?
No,
Um,
no crap, right?
no, yeah, right, exactly. So yeah, that would be nice. We'll go ahead and put that in there. I would also say, and this is kind of just off the cuff, is this magazine right here, Success Magazine, has been really good. And then just listening to the CEO, it's pretty awesome too. He's got something in here called a swag, which me and acronyms, and it's a scientific wild a guess, and he breaks that down and why that's important. So I think that's pretty cool. Something we're going to dive a little bit deeper into as well. But yeah, no, I agree. I think that raise your hand if you really run a business online with a lot of Zooms and meetings and all that throughout these last years because of the environment that we were in, right? So I think with what JB said, we've created something called COM that we're going to focus on. Obviously, next to a military base, comms is communication, and that's what we're going to service on a higher level is the communication. The C, I'll maybe get to in a second. Oh, maybe I'll get to in a second. And the M is meet, which is what JB said. Go out and meet people. We've been so tied into like this box for so long that it's going to mean a lot, and it's going to make a big difference when you go out and you meet people, but not just say it, literally put it into your database as a call to action for the core advocates within your world that you're going to meet them. And on a bare minimum, every 6 months or so. We've started doing that and setting meetings in January. Obviously the holidays are now, but literally meeting, sitting, talking, hugging, just having that real conversation as a real human being in real life I think it's going to play a huge part, JB.
I love that, Ruben. And so what I'm hearing from you is if you want to learn what CALM stands for, then you're going to have to stick around, right? And that's actually something Hamudi and I have been, reevaluating because we have such a hectic travel schedule. And it's like being more intentional now when we travel, instead of going somewhere a couple of days, maybe spending a couple of weeks and meeting people instead of just relying on, virtual meetings and such. So one thing that I really want to press upon is with the market shift, I hate to say this, but you guys just said it too. Next year is not going to be easier, right? Especially if I would say if you got your license after 2020, you're going to really have to relearn the game. And so the first one is do not give up. I've heard this very scary statistic that, they're estimating about 30% of licensees might get out of the business within the next year or two. And I hate to see that. And I know for us, and I'm sure for you guys as well as educators, we're really doubling down on our masterminds and on our education because I don't want to see the real estate agents get out of the industry. If anything, I want them to look at this as an opportunity, which it is. It all depends on how you look at it. So, what are you guys doing? We talked about revisiting business goals and planning for the year. How often do you all revisit your business goals?
I would say consistently, I'm doing it every week. We revisit what our goals are as a team and individually every week at team meeting. I honestly think you should be doing it every day. You should be, before you start working, you should start look at your goals, because if you don't understand what you're going for and why you're getting up and you're doing this fun, crazy, chaotic business, you can get burnout, and then you do kind of start to, waver on your habits and your discipline. But if you are really clear on why, I think it's so much easier. So I think it's imperative that we do it often.
I love that. So more than once a year, right? Even more than
Oh my gosh, yes. At least once a week minimum. If you're really gung-ho, do it every day before you sit down and start working.
Absolutely. Awesome. What about you, Ruben?
I agree again with what she says. Also, if you go back to that statistic you were just saying, if you were to get your license in 2020, which a ton of people got their license in 2020, given that environment, the statistics, approximately within the first 2 years of a licensed agent, about 88% leave the business in their first 2 years. So it's 2022. We're rolling into 2023. We're right there. So not only are we going to look at that about 88% thing going to happen, plus the 30% because it's getting harder. So imagine what this field's about to do. It's really about to just kind of dissolve in a way, and we're going to see a lot of agents leave the business. So you're exactly right. And in terms of the, which is kind of scary, like you said, it's one of those things where you have to pour into your people more than ever. I know I just got 2 things today that I'm going to add to my little funnel for our agents that I think is going to help sharpen and keep them engaged. But it's a constant, adjustment for sure. And then speaking of adjustments in terms of like watching your numbers, obviously I watch my numbers every day. There's language in numbers. I just came out with a video on this actually about the language that's in numbers. But we do have something like on this Excel spreadsheet that's like highlighted every quarter, and it says adjust goal. So wherever you're at in the quarter of the year, adjust the goal either up or down or up or up. Really, now that I think about it, all of it's up in some way, shape, or form. Either you got to do more contact attempts, more appointments to hit the goal that you missed, or you've actually hit goals. So what do you need to do? Do you need to raise up your goal because you've kind of created a system, the tools, and the people to hit that goal? So you adjust. And we got that every quarter as well. And it kind of aligns with the 12-week year. If you've read that book, the 12-week year, right? Which is that quarterly, yearly goal setting and adjustment.
Well, I'm really with both of you. JB, we revisit our goals every single day. I mean, if you're going to attend the business planning clinic this afternoon, one of the things that I talk about is revisiting your goal because every single day, because I think we do this big, long, in-depth business plan guide, if you will. And if it's so in-depth, you're never going to take a look at it. So I intentionally have just a 1-page business plan and it's something that's intentionally supposed to sit on your desk that you can look at every day. And then Ruben, you're talking about numbers. As I mentioned, what gets measured gets managed. So what are some of the self and business audits that you guys are doing right now individually and maybe with your prospective teams?
Ruben, I'll let you take that one first.
So you said that audit the numbers, is that correct?
Self and business audits in terms of looking at what needs to change, right? So I know for me, when COVID hit, I did a personal audit, right? Because I knew I needed to change. And now we're doing another audit. So what does that look like from a personal level and a business level?
Yeah, and it goes back to looking at the goals. I mean, we're down this year in terms of sales, year over year. I mean, if you look at the whole thing, it looks like we're growing, but definitely year over year, we're down. And that became the C, the O, and the M of what we're adjusting and what we're planting in the business, and we're actually watching it, and we're scaling it, and we're watching the numbers behind it. So the M is we're really want to know how many appointments we're setting a week to meet people, our core advocates. So we're not just saying it, we're being about it. We really want to know how many of those appointments we've set, and then how many of those really convert into something bigger and better for the overall business. So we're actually tracking the meat. The O, for the ones who have stuck around, is open house. So I think that open houses are going to come back heavier, and we have a play for that. And the fact that I was in a room and I was like, all right, who loves doing open houses? And I said, raise your hand. And everyone was like, ugh, gross. And I was like, perfect. The fact that you don't want to do it is the reason why we need to do it, right? Because most of the market is saying that too, which is perfect. That means opportunity. So we're actually tracking. Exactly. Yeah. So we're tracking the open houses. We got the plan, the 5x5x10 and all of that. If anybody wants to know, just comment below. So that's another thing. And the C is community is another thing we've adjusted too. So, and I learned this at EXPCon, right? They were really pushing, go back to your community, go back to Jarek, right? Was really pushing that too. Jarek Robbins, he was like, go back to your community. So now we've really built this effort to go back into the community, start with like different type of groups, like the Kiwanis or the Lions or the Moose Lodge or whatever it is, whatever you want to get involved with that does a lot of stuff within the community. Start jumping into that and really pouring yourself back into the community and to the small business owners. So C-O-M, community, open house, and meet, M-E-E-T.
Not the steak, right?
Yeah.
Not the steak.
Well, I love that. I mean, we're kind of doing the same thing. So we're auditing. We did a lot of auditing yesterday on our business, and I track every year since like 2014 where my business comes from. So I'd been tracking 21 and 20. We went back to where 17, 18, 19 before the chaos, and where we were getting the majority of our business. And we've decided to really pour into those, which are our clients. And then a couple different lead gen sources that were profitable for us. But we're really focusing on making more calls. I mean, we have got to get in front of more people. At EXPCon, or I think it was at Build, they said, and I might get this wrong, they said your business has to be prospect based and marketing enhanced. I think over the past 2 years, everybody's been marketing, Instagram, Facebook, this, that. While that is helpful, I think we're headed into a market where we have to be prospect based. We have to get back to hitting the phones, connecting with people. One of our goals this year is to do a lot of business to business transactions where we're promoting local businesses to help their business. We're in turn, we are marketed to their whole database. So it's helping everybody. So so we've done an audit as far as business, and in my personal audit, we've just really kind of looked at, what's working, kind of like we did at COVID. We've cut the fat, and we're very focused going into 2023. And it doesn't, I think people overcomplicate it. Like more is not great. Keep
Especially
it
right now.
No, like 2, 3 things, focus on those and forget everything else.
Well, and that really leads me into my next question. But first off, I want to thank you to everyone that's given us a shout out. Go ahead and give us a little bit of love. And if you have any questions, please go ahead and drop them below and we'll try to get to them. So with that said, talking about we might have lost JB. I'm sure she'll pop back in. Narrowing down your focus and doubling down on what works. And I always say that you shouldn't have any more than 4 lead generation buckets. If you don't have any lead generation buckets or you're not sure right now, introduce just 1 per quarter. Don't have 4 all at once. But more importantly, have 4. And as JB just mentioned, prospecting, I've always said that prospecting is where we control the outcome, right? Ruben, so you're great at marketing. Obviously, we do a lot of marketing, but that's like throwing something at the wall and hoping that it sticks. In reality, when you do outbound reaches and prospecting, that's where you control the outcome. And I know, Ruben, you're really good at that. So what advice do you have for agents right now in terms of looking at their lead generation buckets? How do they narrow down their lead generation? How do they double down on what's working and choose which lead generation buckets that they should be focusing on for next year?
Yeah, I think the only way that you could really have that real conversation with yourself is if you're tracking, right? Because if not, you're kind of guessing on where most of those results came from, or where those leads came from, or where you spent time in, and that's what had that result. For example, this is a little bit different. We track everything because we have an RV rental. So we track all like the contact attempts within our database, Instagram, all that, right? And I was just talking about this to the team. I was like, because we track contact attempts, contact made, and bookings, and then where those bookings come from, guess how many came from my database? How many bookings? We had like 26, I think, ish bookings this year so far for the RV. Guess how many?
I'm going to say half.
We got half. What do you think, JB? Tyler, don't say anything.
I think it's going to be higher. I think it's going to be like 20.
All right. So y'all ready?
Drum roll.
Oh,
Zero. Zero, which is kind of shocking to me as well, where they end up. And I track where Google, like where the leads came from. So I did get some leads from Google, but the majority and the one that beat the most is outdoorsy.com, which is the booking site that the actual RV is on. So we ask everybody, you guys want to know exactly where your leads are coming from and where your energy is going and what's the result from that? Ask all your people that come into your world, hey, where did you hear me? Like, where did you find me? Who told you about me? And then track that. And then that's going to show you, I mean, who am I to tell you where to put your energy when the numbers are saying, hey, put your energy right here? Because if you notice, if you focus here, that's the result. So I would just say, you need to start off with tracking before I could tell you where you need to go first. The numbers will tell you exactly where to move. The numbers are the language of business.
100%. I couldn't agree more. And I was actually on a Zoom the other day and we were talking about this ISA program. And I was like, well, where did you start in the beginning of the year? Where are you now? And we noticed there wasn't a huge difference. I'm like, not only is it a big financial, investment, it's also a huge time investments in terms of training and converting and things like that. So you really do have to look at where your business is coming from, which I think is the first step, is identifying where your business comes from and then focus on that one thing. So what about you, JB? I know that you popped off for a little bit. Did you hear
can you repeat the question, ma'am?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you were actually talking about prospecting. And so now we're talking about doubling down on what works and really having no more than 4 lead generation buckets. So you just had your team retreat. How are you guys identifying which lead generation you need to be focusing on?
So,
and I think
I think there's some feedback.
Ruben, we saw you touching something over there.
We saw you over there like this.
Yep.
Okay. So I do think if you're a seasoned agent and you've been in the business a couple years, you should be tracking, but you have business to track, and that might be something that you're going to have to get caught up on and then really double down in those areas. When we get a property in contract or we, a referral or anything, we have a simple spreadsheet in Google Docs. We track it. That way, like I'm doing right now, I can see where the majority of our business has come from the previous year, and then I can double down on that source. However, if you're a brand new agent, I know that that's not always the case. I mean, you don't have a track record or something to track yet. So my suggestion for those agents, brand new, year 1, year 2, would be to, get with top agents, ask the questions, go to trainings, find out what top producers are doing, and start trying to kind of test some of those sources. You're not going to know until you test it. So, I'm always open to share what we do, how we do it, all those good things. So I know there's a lot of agents like me willing to share what's been successful for them and then start tracking.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's a great idea is, learn from other people. Don't just try to reinvent the wheel.
Yes.
Which really leads me to my last point here is look at who you're surrounding yourself with. They always say that you're the average of the 5 people that you hang around. And I think that could not be more true, especially in our industry. So when we go back to self and business audits, are you guys or are the agents that you're coaching very intentional on who you're surrounding yourself with, who you're learning from, et cetera?
I think this has been a big lesson that I've learned over the past couple of years. And, with EXP, with the company I'm with, talk about surrounding yourself with the doers, the movers, the people that really want it. They're disciplined. So that has been, that has really changed the way of my mindset and changed the way that I do my business. And what's so interesting is when you start hanging out with these people and going to these trainings and aligning yourself with people, you just get really good at what you're doing. And then you're a much better leader. And so it's been amazing for me to do that. At Team Retreat yesterday, our team talked about raising our standards. Like, you have to raise your standards. I think it's been natural over the past couple of years in real estate. The floodgates have been open. We have worked very hard, but I think I'm not going to say as an industry, in the people that I'm in contact with here in the local market, the people that I'm talking to, they're working 3-4 hours a day in real estate. And if you want to be successful in this business, there's no way you're going to work 2 to 3 hours a day and make 6 figures a year. So I think we've got to be disciplined and we've got to have a good mindset, and you do have to surround yourself with people who want it like you do.
I like that Tyler said he's had the mindset the whole time. It's just been hiding. That's awesome.
Yes.
Tyler, I will tell you, if you've watched any of my videos, I always say it starts with your mindset. That truly is the secret sauce of any business. So what about you, Ruben? I know that you've got a very tight-knit circle and you're very protective of that.
Yeah.
Which I love. I respect that. We do too.
Yeah. It's, all right, I'll jump on the standards part. Yeah. Standards was something that I had to learn. And it was when I wanted everyone to like me, back when I was a leader within another company, and I didn't want to really do anything or shake the boat because I wanted everybody to like me. Well, a book came into my hands called Extreme Ownership, and I have it on the shelf over here. And that really taught me, like, you know what? You're being selfish if you don't decide to hold higher standards, because only the higher standards will raise everyone else up. And if I allow things to happen within our organization, within our team, I've created a substandard by not addressing it. Personally, me as the leader. So that really hit home, and I started holding a higher standard, and people started not liking me for it. But if you kind of pan back, we hit all-time records. More people were making more money. More of our agents were. We were growing. We were breaking all-time records in that. Listing taken, all-time record. Owner profit, all-time, like all this stuff, because we held a higher standard. So I've kind of taken that with me throughout life, and you're worth it, guys. Like, you're worth holding up a higher standard. And here's another thing to make you more money in 2023: raise your commission. We're at 8% right now when we take a listing, and we're doing 3.5 to the buy side, because if an agent gets their license today, the firm is going to coach them on taking, and it's all negotiable, real estate commission if you're listening, but the firm is going to coach them to do 6%, and they just got their license today. Jaybee, how long have you been in the business?
17 years.
17. price is only an issue in the absence of value, and 17 years of value is worth a higher commission. So guys out there, hold a higher standard for yourself, for your team, raise that up. And I think that's huge. And another way that you could do that, I did a video on this, is basically a math problem. So get out a piece of paper, do a quadrant, right? And add plus, minus, multiply, and divide. And start putting everyone that you surround yourself with that's in your circle, and start putting them in one of those. Divide, they're dividing your life. Get rid of them. Subtraction, they're subtracting from your life. So you need to have a real conversation with that person and say, I want to keep you around, but you got to start adding to my life. You got to start being positive. You can't always be womp womp every time I see you. And then plus is like that cheerleaders, right? Like you love your cheerleaders, the ones who are always woo, 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 that's awesome. But the multipliers is the one you really have to challenge yourself to start filling that quadrant. And the multipliers don't care about your feelings. They're going to push you to do better because they know you're better, which is why I have a tattoo of a multiplication symbol right here, right? I want to make sure when I'm shaking hands, it's a conscious thing to constantly keep surrounding myself with multipliers. But that's an easy math problem that you could do with the people that you surround yourself with. And for the personal audit, like you said, Viome, learn that at EXPCon too. We've actually invested in Viome. And it's really changing who we are, how we feel, and everything else. So I think I hit all three that you mentioned.
And for those of you who don't know, Viome is a new affiliation with Success Health. Actually, I did my supplements and my drink this morning, so we finally got ours in. You know, Puerto Rico, there's a little bit of a delay. So, but you're right. You know, we're all doing it as a family, and so it makes a huge difference. And that goes back to that self audit. So I think, you know, just to kind of wrap this up, you know, there's a lot of great points here, but more importantly, it's really about being committed and staying consistent. And I think anything that you try, you've got to be willing to let it go for 12 months. So if you're a little bit deflated right now, because of course you had all these all-time high years, and then maybe this year went down a little bit, and you're not unsure for next year, take some of the things that Ruben has said, some of the things that Jaybee has said, and other top producers, and understand that it's all in your mindset, because this truly is an opportunity. When I see market shift, I got in not quite as long as you, Jaybee, but I got in 2009. And so I got in a down market, and that was some of the best years that we ever had. So I'm looking at this as an opportunity. I think you guys are looking at this as an opportunity as well.
Yes.
So any last words or any questions from the audience?
Have a plan. Have a plan going into this year. Write your goals down. Visit it often. Don't deviate from the plan. Just write the plan and do it.
And speaking of plan, we have our business planning session in an hour and a half. So
plug.
Right.
Like,
Which you should be. So good. I love the call to actions.
yeah.
You know, if you're feeling down, completely normal. There's I did a video on this too, but it's out of a book, and I think it's out of the book 12-week year, I think. But you start off excited, you start feeling a little, oh my gosh, what's going on? And you hit what's called the valley of despair. You don't feel like this is worth it. I've really tried every day. I don't see any result. This sucks. By the way, real estate's a 90-day business, so just know that. But like, of course, and it's okay to feel like that. We're down in our business. And to be honest, with numbers, we're down around 40% this year in terms of sales. So I can sit here and womp about it, right? Or we could look at the numbers and adjust. And you're right, it's a mindset thing. And if you feel like you don't have anyone in your circle, you're looking for more multipliers, then you could surround yourself with multipliers without necessarily a physical body sitting next to you. For example, for the ones who are like feeling down, I'm listening to this book. And if you know David Goggins, this dude is bananas. He just came out with a new book called Never Finished, and it is hyping me up. And it's like he's sitting here on my shoulder telling me to quit being a punk. Mm-hmm. And these people you could surround yourself with, man. You have access to the internet just like I do. So if it's not us or anyone on this call, you can download these books to kind of hype you up and push you through this, and understand it's natural to be in the valley of despair. But the consistency compounds, and you must stay consistent for sure.
And I think during the holidays, there's no better time to catch up on some of those reads, right?
Oh, so, for sure.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, guys, I'm excited. I'm excited for 2023. I know we're going to help a lot of agents. I know collectively we're doubling down on our training to help as many agents as possible. So we will see you after the new year. Again, this is the second Wednesday of every month with Ruben and Jaybee. So got a lot of great content coming next year. And thank you both.
Yes. All right.
Whoop,
Thank
whoop.
you guys.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.